Peace to the 12, man. Y'all see the title. Things are heating up. Things are heating up, and I had to talk about it, man. So Russia calls Israel an invader. I'll say this one more time. Russia calls Israel an invader. And when I say Israel, I'm talking about the Israeli, which I might do a video on where that word Israeli comes from in relation to a Israelite. It might surprise you, but that'll be another video for another time. So let's get all into it, man. So Russia this week declared that Israel has no right to self-defense and labeled its would-be ally an occupying power in a move that undermines years of work for Jerusalem to improve its relationship with Moscow. All right, so you got E on E crime. All right. Right, so this story was put out from various sources. That one was Fox News. Russia backs Hamas terrorists, calls Israel occupying power. Middle East Monitor, which is going to be the one I'm going to use. Russia, Israel is an occupying power and has no right to defend itself. The Moscow Times, Israel has no right to self-defense. As Occupy Russia says. All Israel News, Russia claims Israel has no right to self-defense as an occupying power. So I said invader for a reason, because the word invader and occupy can be used interchangeably. Okay? See, look, a synonym for occupy is to invade, take over, capture, seize. All right? So when this guy, we're going to go to it. This is the guy right here. This is the Russian ambassador to the United States, Vasily Nebenzia, at the United Nations headquarters in New York, United States, on September 11th, 2018. So he made this statement. Israel has no right to defend itself as it is an occupying power. Russia representative to the United Nations, Vasily Nebenzia, said yesterday. The only thing they can muster is continued pronouncements about Israel's supposed right to self-defense, although as an occupying power, it does not have that power, as confirmed by the advisory opinion on the International Court of Justice handed down in 2004, he explained. Okay? So, that's to occupy. Now, if you know me, I agree. They are invaders, and they are occupying that land. I don't care if you don't like it, man. Every once in a while, I get some people of Amalek who come in my comments and try to click up with me. Listen, I'm not clicking up with Amalek, period. All right? And the scripture that comes to my mind about occupying or invading is Luke chapter 21, verse 24, which reads, "And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive unto all nations." Who is the they in this instance? The Israelites. "And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled." So Jerusalem is going to be occupied, taken over, seized, captured. It's going to be occupied by heathen nations. All right? All right, and this word trod as well as occupy, they both have the same synonym, busy, busy. All right, but I already proved occupy is synonymous with invade anyway. So, you know, occupy, etymology, 14th century, take over, seize, take into possession, possess, occupy, right? Now let's get other let's get other versions of Luke 21 and 24. Let's get the contemporary English version. "Some of them will be killed by swords, others will be carried off to foreign countries. Jerusalem will be overrun by foreign nations until their times come to an end." All right? So until the time of our Messiah, which is Yahawashi, by the way, Jerusalem is going to be trodden underfoot by these other nations. And notice it's plural, nations. Why? Because the so-called Palestinians, they occupy that land as well. All right? Because that is not their land. I don't care who don't like it. All right? Good News Translation, "The heathen will trample over Jerusalem." All right, let me get this in context. Good News Translation, "Some will be killed by the sword and others will be taken as prisoners to all countries, and the heathen will trample over Jerusalem until their time is up." New Heart English Bible, "And they will fall by the edge of the sword. it be led captive into all the nations, and Jerusalem will be trampled down by the non-Judeans, the non-Jewish people, until the times are fulfilled, and there will be times of the non-Jewish people. So, are the invaders? Well, let me get this out the way. First of all, the so-called wheat man is an invader in pretty much every land he's at, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But first, let's get Jeremiah 50. All right, let's get Jeremiah 50 and 33. Thus said the Lord Yahawah of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go, which is a cut on the fact that, oh, no, we're back in our... Listen, it tells you that our captives, the heathen, would refuse to let us go. Okay? They wouldn't want us to build no nation, man. Their Redeemer is strong. The Lord of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. All right. Now, Babylon can be talking about the time of Babylon with Nebuchadnezzar, but also there's something known as the daughter of Babylon, which is talking about the Idumeans, aka the Edomites. All right. But just to point out that we've been taking to all nations, the so-called African diaspora, particularly the slave trade victims of it, because nowadays they include the diaspora as just all African nations. I'm dealing with the slave trade, and specifically via the transatlantic as well as the Arab slave trade, was the largest forced migration in history. All right. 39 million in North America, 113 million in Latin America, 14 million in Caribbean, 4 million in Europe. The transatlantic slave trade, nearly half of all African captives were taken from West and Central Africa. All right, and those people were Israelites. You hear me? All right. You can write. I'm not going to go too much in detail on that. You can watch a video I did titled "The Jews That Fled to Africa." All right, it was only a month ago. You ain't got to scroll down too long. Now, and also before I get on that, there were still people that have our people in slavery in them Arab nations even now. All right, like for example, right? Africans from Maghreb are subject to unlimited trafficking in Libya. This is 2021. Inside the modern slave trade trapping African immigrants, nearly 500,000 sub-Saharan African migrants are currently trapped in Libya. All right, slavery in Libya. Slaves are often ransomed to their families, and until ransom can be paid, they are tortured, forced to work, sometimes to death, and eventually executed or left to starve. If they can't pay for too long, women are often violated and used as pleasure slaves and sold to brothels and private Libyan clients, man. All right, so that's to you, Jake, who try to stick up for these damn Ishmaelites, man. Right? And the same with Saudi Arabia, they have something called a kafala system. All right, which is the legal practice of slavery, sponsorship system. All right. Oppressive system that controls unskilled migrant workers in the Arab states, most of them being women from Africa and South Asia, man. So there it is. Now back to where I was at. Let's go back to where we was at, and I'll touch on why Esau is compared to Babylon as well. Jeremiah 50 and 33. Thus saith Yahawah, Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Which shows you that Israel and Judah are going to be oppressed together. All right. And he says he's going to disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon in the next verse, which is verse 34. Now, when we go to Psalms 137 and verse 7, it tells you, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. So we're to remember the children of Edom. Watch the next verse. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall it be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. So the daughter of Babylon, the daughters of Babylon are the Edomites. All right, that's why it's called that, children of Edom, daughter of Babylon. And they will be rewarded the same punishments of what they did to us, man. Even though people try to avoid it. Hey, that's happening, man. So when you read about the daughter of Babylon in the scriptures, ready to read Zechariah 2 and 7, Isaiah 47 and 1, Jeremiah 51 and 33, Jeremiah 50 and 42. Anytime you see this daughter of Babylon, just know it is talking about the Edomites, the Idumeans, man. Okay? And then when you go to Revelations, go to Revelations, And it's talking about Babylon. That Babylon it's talking about is Babylon the Great, which is the United States of America, man. All right. As a matter of fact, even on Google, man, you type in who is the daughter of Babylon. Who is the daughter of Babylon according to Google? It says America. All right. Which goes directly in with the apocryphal text in 2nd Ezra 6 and 7 on down, where it says, "Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the hill of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The hand of man is betwixt the hill and the hand. Other question, Ezra's asked thou not." So Esau is the end of the world, meaning what? The last ruling power, the last heathen empire would be the empire of the Edomites. We know who's ruling power right now, and no, it's not the Arab, it's the so-called white man. Jacob's coming right after. Why? Because Israel, us, we got next. All right, and who is Edom? Or who is Esau? Esau is Edom. Genesis 36 and 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. Pretty plain, man. But let's get some more scriptures on our place is being occupied. All right, our place is being occupied. Salakia. Where's that? Oh, let's get Ezekiel 36. We're actually gonna kick it. Am I gonna start from the top? I'm gonna start from the top. Ezekiel 36 and 1. But 4 and 5 is what I want. Right? So this is Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 1. "Also, thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say, Ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord Yahawah. Thus saith the Lord Yahawah, because the enemy hath said against you, Aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. Therefore prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord Yahawah, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that ye might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen, and ye are taken up in the lips of talkers, and are an infamy of the people." See, this is talking about us. "Therefore, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord Yahawah. Thus saith the Lord Yahawah to the mountains and to the hills, to the rivers and to the valleys, to the desolate wastes, and to the cities that are forsaken, which become a prey and a derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about." Now check this out, man. Who's about to get named? Ezekiel 36 and 5. "Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahawah, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their heart, with the spiteful minds to cast it out for a prey," man. So the Idumeans have appointed their land as a possession. They trying to act like that's their land, man. And let's get some other verses. Ezekiel 36 and 5, NIV. Right? "This is what the sovereign Lord Yahawah says, in my burning zeal I have spoken against the rest of the nations, and against all Edom. For with glee and with malice in their hearts, they made my land their own possession, so that they might plunder its pasture land." All right? Taking my land. Edom gave my land to themselves as a possession. Against all Edom. You see that? So that's what they do, man. And guess what, man? This is nothing new for the Edomites, man. All right, the so-called wheat man. I had a older relative that's now pastor. Used to call them the wheat man. So that's what I'm doing. But we're gonna go to Habakkuk chapter 2, where it speaks about this, man. See, everywhere they go, they be on stolen land. All right? Rather, it's talking about America. This place was originally inhabited by the Aboriginal Americans. Rather, it's talking about Australia, which was originally inhabited by the Aboriginal Australians. Even when we're talking about Europe, which was originally inhabited by so-called black people. You don't believe me? Go ask Google and thedailymail.com. GCSE pupils to be taught that the nation's earliest inhabitants were Africans who were in Britain before the English. Ask David McRitchie, an anthropologist folklorist who was born in 1851, born in the 1800s, who wrote a book series known as Ancient and Modern Britons, Volume 1 and 2. When you go to Volume 1, page 16 of Ancient and Modern Britons, he tells you straight up that they're not from Europe either, man. All right, the question of the origin of the white races which have now long held the supremacy in these islands scarcely enters into the present inquiry, which has to do more with their colored predecessors. Predecessor meaning before them. While forth as we see hints that the home, if not the cradle of the white race, was Europe, but there seems to be little probability of any of these theories ever becoming substantiated. We have just seen that many scientific men hold that there are some grounds for believing that portions, at least of Europe, have formerly been inhabited by black, tawny, and copper-colored races, man. So, yeah, they ain't from Europe, Australia, or America, man. So, of course, they just gather onto themselves other lands. You can read about that in Habakkuk chapter 2, which I'm about to get from the top, man. Habakkuk 2 and 1 on down. 5 and 6 is what I want. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the throne, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yeah, the soul of the Edomites is not upright in them. They teach everything contrary to the scriptures, man. All right? Yeah, also, because he transgresseth by wine, by meaning his doctrines and philosophy. All right, that's why the scriptures tell you what. Another verse says what? They are drunk, but not with wine. They're drunk out of the philosophies of this damn devil, man. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. He's never at home. He's never at Mount Seir. Now, didn't we read earlier? Let's go back to it. Then we read earlier, thus dwell Esau and Mount Seir, Esau is Edom. This man is everywhere, but where he's supposed to be at. So, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, in his as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. In Rome, they called it the bundle of sticks. In America, they call it the melting pot. Where they got all these different people, they call it the melting pot, to strengthen their empire. Now, check this out. Verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long to him that leadeth himself with thick clay? So woe unto him that increaseth that which is not his. All right? Australia is not his. America is not his. Europe was not his. And yet they all over them places. All right? Neither is the Holy Land, man. All right, you know, that's a little quick video. And, of course, y'all know Revelation 2 and 9 and 3 and 9. But some people will say, oh, that's talking about the Church of Philadelphia. Well, doesn't it tell you in Job that sometimes the scriptures are double to that which is? Paraphrasing, man. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I ain't going to be too long, man. But, yeah, man. Hey, they are invaders, man. That's what Esau known for. So, with that, man, I say peace to the 12. All praises, honor, and glory is due to Yahawah. Bashim Yahawashi. Yahawah is the name of the Heavenly Father, who's commonly known as God. Yahawashi is the Savior of the nation of Israel, who's commonly known as Jesus Christ. Once you shalom, which means peace, you people listening and learning. Brothers doing this work, truth and sincerity, and to others doing this thing for me. I'm Al Shalom.